Welcome to Wonderslate. Subscribe to our Telegram channel given in the description to updates and study materials. Topic for today's quiz is photosynthesis in higher plants. Question number 1. Which of the following does not occur during the Calvin cycle? Option A. Carbon fixation. Option B. Oxidation of NADPH. Option C. Release of oxygen. Option D. Regeneration of the CO2 acceptor. The correct answer is option C. Release of oxygen. Release of oxygen in photosynthesis is during the photolysis of water in the non-cyclic photophosphorylation. Question number 2. Plants typically store the sugar produced from photosynthesis in the form of _. Option A. Protein. Option B. Fatty acids. Option C. Starch. Option D. Cellulose. The correct answer is option C. Starch. The fixation of atmospheric CO2 to carbohydrate is photosynthesis. The carbohydrate that is formed through photosynthesis primarily is glucose. However, glucose being highly osmotic cannot be stored in the plant cells as such. Therefore, it is converted into starch, a polymer of glucose that is not water-soluble or osmoreactive. Question number 3. Cacti and many desert plants are _ plants. Option A. C3. Option B. Chem. Option C. C4. Option D. None of them. The correct answer is option B. Chem. They are said to be scotoactive with stomata closed during the day to reduce transpiration. Question number 4. In photosynthesis, the most useful colors of the light spectrum are option A. Green, yellow and orange. Option B. Red, violet and blue. Option C. Infrared, red and yellow. Option D. Red, white and blue. The correct answer is option B. Red, violet and blue. The efficiency of photosynthesis is very high in these lights. Question number 5. An outcome of Engelmann experiment was to help determine option A. The relationship between heterotrophic and autotrophic organisms. Option B. The relationship between wavelengths of light and the rate of aerobic respiration. Option C. The relationship between wavelengths of light and the amount of heat released. Option D. The relationship between wavelengths of light and the oxygen released during photosynthesis. The correct answer is option D. The relationship between wavelengths of light and the oxygen released during photosynthesis. Engelmann grew oxygen-loving bacteria on photosynthesizing algae. He then passed light through a prism, splitting light into Vibgyor spectrum before supplying it to the algae for photosynthesis. He saw that the oxygen-loving bacteria congregated in the regions where the red and blue light was falling. This indicated that there is more oxygen produced in these regions as a consequence of photosynthesis. Engelmann thus concluded that the red and blue regions of the visible spectrum is more effective for photosynthesis. Question number 6. Which statement describes the functioning of photosystem 2? Option A. Light energy excites electrons in the electron transport chain in a photosynthetic unit. Option B. The excitation is passed along to a molecule of P700 chlorophyll in the photosynthetic unit. Option C. The P680 chlorophyll donates a pair of protons to NADPH, which is thus converted to NADO+. Option D. The electron vacancies in P680 are filled by electrons derived from water. The correct answer is option D. The electron vacancies in P680 are filled by electrons derived from water. When light falls in photosystem 2, electrons get excited and are transported through an electron transport chain to photosystem I. Water is split, oxygen is released and electrons are transferred to photosystem 2. Question number 7. How many carbon atoms are in a molecule of RuBP? Option A, 5. Option B, 1. Option C, 2. Option D, 3. The correct answer is option A, 5. In the C3 cycle, one molecule of CO2 is fixed onto a molecule of ribulose 1,5-bisphosphate, RuBP, which has 5 carbon atoms. Question number 8. Which of the following statements is not correct about photosynthesis? Option A. Photosynthesis occurs within the chloroplast. Option B. During photosynthesis, sugars are formed. Option C. During photosynthesis, oxygen is not released. Option D. During photosynthesis, solar energy is used. The correct answer is option C. During photosynthesis, oxygen is not released. Oxygen is a very important end product of photosynthesis. Photosynthesis uses light energy from the sun and converts carbon dioxide and water into glucose and oxygen. Question number 9. Solar energy is passed from one pigment to the other until it is concentrated into one particular molecule, the reaction center chlorophyll. Option A. Red carotenoid. Option B. Orange carotenoid. Option C. Yellow carotenoid. Option D. Chlorophyll A. The correct answer is option D. Chlorophyll A. Chlorophyll A is called the primary pigment or the reaction center. Question number 10. Rubisco. Option A. Catalyzes the carboxylation of CO2 to ribulose 1,5-bisphosphate. Option B. Initiates photorespiration when the CO2/O2 ratio is low. Option C. Catalyzes the reduction of two molecules of pGAL to form glucose. Option D. A and B but not C. The correct answer is option D. A and B but not C. Rubisco catalyzes the carbon fixation of ribulose 1,5-bisphosphate, which initiates the Calvin cycle. At low concentrations of CO2 it initiates photorespiration. Question number 11. To reduce 6 molecules of carbon dioxide to glucose via photosynthesis, how many molecules of NADPH and ATP are required? Option A. 6 NADPH and 6 ATP. Option B. 12 NADPH and 12 ATP. Option C. 12 NADPH and 18 ATP. Option D. 18 NADPH and 12 ATP. The correct answer is option C. 12 NADPH and 18 ATP. These are generated during the non-cyclic photophosphorylation. Question number 12. During what stage of photosynthesis is O2 produced? Option A. Cyclic photophosphorylation. Option B. The light-dependent reactions involving photosystems 1 and 2. Option C. Carbon fixation. Option D. The Krebs cycle. The correct answer is option B. The light-dependent reactions involving photosystems 1 and 2. This is due to the splitting of the water molecule during the non-cyclic photophosphorylation. Question number 13. NADPH and ATP are used in the reactions of photosynthesis. Option A. Light-dependent. Option B. Light-independent. Option C. Glycolytic. Option D. Krebs cycle. The correct answer is option B. Light independent. The energy generated during the light reactions is used to produce NADPH and ATP, which are used in the dark reactions for the fixation of the CO2 to a carbohydrate. Question number 14. What did Engelmann conclude about the congregation of bacteria in the red and blue areas? Option A. Bacteria released excess carbon dioxide in these areas. Option B. Bacteria congregated in these areas due to an increase in the temperature of the red and blue light. Option C. Bacteria congregated in these areas because these areas had the most oxygen being released. Option D. Bacteria are attracted to red and blue light and thus these wavelengths are more reactive than other wavelengths. The correct answer is option C. Bacteria congregated in these areas because these areas had the most oxygen being released. Engelmann used oxygen-loving bacteria to grow on the algae. The bacteria congregating in the region of the red and blue light indicated that there was more oxygen being produced in these areas, indicating there was more photosynthetic activity in these areas. Thus Engelmann concluded that the red and blue light of the visible spectrum generate more photosynthetic activity than other parts of the visible spectrum. Question number 15. Electrons in the reaction center chlorophyll molecule become so excited that they escape and move to a nearby electron-acceptor molecule. Option A. True. Option B. False. The correct answer is option A. True. This is called as photoexcitation and releases energy during its movement. Question number 16. CO2 fixation occurs within the stroma. Option A. True. Option B. False. The correct answer is option A. True. CO2 fixation is a part of the Calvin cycle, which occurs in the stroma of the chloroplasts. Question number 17. Which of the following statements accurately describes the relationship between photosynthesis and cellular respiration? Option A. Photosynthesis occurs only in autotrophs. Cellular respiration occurs only in heterotrophs. Option B. Photosynthesis uses solar energy to convert inorganic compounds to energy-rich organic compounds. Respiration breaks down these organic compounds to synthesize ATP. Option C. Photosynthesis involves the oxidation of glucose. Respiration involves the reduction of CO2. Option D. The primary function of photosynthesis is to use solar energy to synthesize ATP. The primary function of cellular respiration is to break down ATP and release energy. The correct answer is option B. Photosynthesis uses solar energy to convert inorganic compounds to energy-rich organic compounds. Respiration breaks down these organic compounds to synthesize ATP. Cellular respiration can be considered as the reverse process of photosynthesis. While photosynthesis uses the basic organic compounds such as carbon dioxide and water to synthesize glucose and release oxygen, in cellular respiration glucose is broken down in presence of oxygen into carbon dioxide and water once again. Question number 18. In the thylakoid membranes, what is the main role of the antenna pigment molecules? Option A. Split water and release oxygen to the reaction center chlorophyll. Option B. Harvest photons and transfer light energy to the reaction center chlorophyll. Option C. Synthesize ATP from the ADP and pi. Option D. Transfer electrons to ferredoxin and then NADPH. The correct answer is option B. Harvest photons and transfer light energy to the reaction center chlorophyll. These are also called as the accessory pigments. Question number 19. Production of one molecule of 3-phosphoglyceraldehyde requires how many turns of the Calvin cycle? Option A, 1. Option B, 2. Option C, 3. Option D, 6. The correct answer is option C, 3. Since this is a 3-carbon compound and 1 carbon atom is fixed per turn of the Calvin cycle, the production of one molecule requires 3 turns. Question number 20. Both carotenoids and chlorophylls, option A, are pigments. Option B, absorb photons of all energy ranges. Option C, contain porphyrin rings. Option D, all of them. The correct answer is option A, are pigments. These are the primary photosynthetic pigments. Thank you for watching the video. If you'd like practice this quiz, then download the Wonderslate app now. Link in the description below. If you have any suggestion for us, feel free to leave comments. If you liked the video and want to see more of it, hit the thumbs up and don't forget to click on subscribe button to get more updates of the future videos.